Hey everyone. Did you know here, and let's be honest, we've all had those days where the mere thought of school makes us want to crawl back into bed and pull the covers over our heads. But have you ever, really thought about a world where schools never existed in the first place? No more pop quizzes, no more homework, no more awkward cafeteria lunches. Sounds kind of amazing, right? Well, not so fast. Today we're diving deep into the hypothetical, exploring 10 shocking facts about what a world without schools would actually look like. And spoiler alert, it's not the utopia you might imagine. It's a world where knowledge becomes a luxury, social skills are practically non-existent, and let's not even get started on the economic implications. So buckle up, grab your thinking caps, metaphorically speaking of course, because who needs those in a world without schools? And get ready to have your minds blown. Imagine a world where education isn't a fundamental right guaranteed to every child, but rather a coveted privilege reserved only for those who can afford it. That's right. In a world without schools, the only way to gain knowledge would be through private tutors and expensive resources, leaving those from less privileged backgrounds stranded on the shores of ignorance. The very idea of equal opportunity would crumble, as access to education would become the ultimate dividing line between the haves and the have-nots. A world where your future is predetermined by the size of your parents' bank account, that's not a world I want to live in. So, we've established that without schools, education becomes a luxury good, but the consequences go far beyond just who gets to learn their ABCs and who doesn't. In this reality, the gap between the rich and the poor wouldn't just widen, it would become a chasm so vast that bridging it would seem like an impossible feat. Generations would inherit not just wealth or social status, but also a monopoly on knowledge and skills, perpetuating a cycle of inequality that would be nearly impossible to break. Talk about a recipe for societal disaster. Okay, so no schools, right? Well, that means humanity would have to rediscover the lost art of self-learning. We're talking books, apprenticeships, maybe even the occasional wise old hermit on a mountaintop. But here's the catch. Self-learning, while admirable, is often a long and winding road with no guaranteed outcomes. Some might thrive in this environment, becoming self-taught geniuses. Others, however, might struggle to find reliable information, lacking the guidance and structure that schools provide. Chapter 4, the social skills short circuit. We often forget that schools are about so much more than just textbooks and exams. They're also the primary training grounds for those essential yet often underestimated life skills, social skills. From navigating group projects and resolving playground disputes to understanding different perspectives and collaborating with others, schools provide a microcosm of the social world we'll encounter later in life. Take away that crucial environment and we're looking at a generation ill-equipped to handle the complexities of human interaction. Imagine a world where basic communication breaks down, where empathy is a foreign concept, and where collaboration is but a distant dream. Yikes. Chapter 5, Child Labor, a Grim Reality. This one's a tough one, but it's a reality we have to confront. In a world without schools, children, particularly those from impoverished backgrounds, would be seen as valuable assets in the workforce. Without access to education and the promise of a brighter future, many families would be left with no choice but to send their children to work in factories, fields, or even worse. Child labor, a scourge we've fought so hard to eradicate, would become commonplace, robbing an entire generation of their childhoods and condemning them to a life of hardship. Innovation? Not so fast. Schools aren't just about churning out obedient workers, they're also the breeding grounds for innovation, the crucibles where young minds are ignited with the spark of curiosity and encouraged to challenge the status quo. From the laboratories of universities to the classrooms where future artists and entrepreneurs discover their passions, schools are the engines that drive progress. But in a world without them, well, let's just say Silicon Valley would be a very different place. Without the specialized knowledge, critical thinking skills, and collaborative spirit fostered in educational institutions, innovation would slow to a crawl, and technological advancement would stagnate. Chapter 7. Reading and writing. Those fundamental pillars of civilization wouldn't magically become ingrained in everyone's DNA just because we wished it so. It takes systematic instruction, dedicated teachers, and yes, even the occasional grammar lesson to equip individuals with the ability to decode the written word and express themselves effectively. Without schools, literacy rates would plummet, leading to a world where knowledge is hoarded by the few who have access to alternative learning methods and where communication becomes increasingly difficult. Imagine a world where the ability to read a book or write a letter is a rare and valuable skill. That's the reality we'd face. Here's a hard truth: education and economic growth are inextricably intertwined. A skilled and educated workforce is the backbone of any thriving economy, and without it, even the most ambitious nation would struggle to compete on a global scale. Without schools to equip individuals with the knowledge and skills needed to innovate, create, and contribute to the economy, we'd be looking at a bleak future of widespread unemployment, stagnant wages, and a significant drop in overall quality of life. Schools play a vital, often overlooked role in preserving and transmitting cultural heritage from one generation to the next. They're the repositories of stories, traditions, and knowledge that define who we are and where we come from. But in a world without schools, who would teach children about their history, their literature, their art? How would we ensure that the rich tapestry of human culture isn't lost to the sands of time? It's a sobering thought. In an increasingly interconnected world, global cooperation isn't just a lofty ideal, it's a necessity. We need to be able to understand different cultures, communicate effectively, and work together to solve complex global challenges. But without schools to foster cross-cultural understanding, empathy, and critical thinking skills, the dream of a united and collaborative world would remain just that, a distant dream. Misunderstandings would abound, conflicts would escalate, and the walls between nations would only grow higher. So, as you can see, schools, despite their flaws, play a much more vital role in shaping our world than we often give them credit for. They're not just about memorizing facts or acing exams, they're about creating a more just, equitable, and prosperous future for everyone. From ensuring equal access to knowledge and fostering innovation to promoting cultural understanding and driving economic growth, schools are the bedrock upon which civilized society is built. What do you think would be the biggest impact of a world without schools? Let us know in the comments below.